Good morning. First, I would like to thank European Choral Association, Europa Cantat, and the Hungarian Choral Association to give us the opportunity to present this project. And I am Stéphane Grosclaude. I'm coordinator of Umbrella Association Interregional Platform, grouping about 20 regional agencies for culture in charge of public services for information, support for projects, and implementation of public policies of culture in France. And some of these associations are called Mission Voix, Voice Mission in Region, specialized, as the name tells, on vocal practices. And I'm coordinator of the Léo Sings project.
I am Géraldine Toutain, so my job is under the umbrella of Stéphane in France, in the Burgundy region. So I come from Dijon, where I am in charge in a regional association of the development of voice all over that great and beautiful region. In parallel, I am a choir conductor, and I conduct and I am responsible of choral practice in the Department of Musicology in Burgundy, in Dijon, and also training conductors there.
We're going to speak about how to become an amateur or professional singer in Europe. That is part of the Léo Sings project. I will take a few minutes to present you the project, and then we'll go to the contents of this topic. The project is based on different ideas and experiences. First of all, different neighbor country cooperation with France and Germany, Belgium, Spain, and Switzerland. The fact that vocal networks are quite well structured in Europe for singing teaching, for example, for choral activities like Europa Cantat, of course. But these networks are finally not so much cooperating together. That was the observation at the departure. And there are still competition and antagonism between amateur and professional, between choir and solo singing, between classical and pop music. And we wanted to imagine a new way to mix and to meet. And the three objectives are, in this project, to draw a picture of vocal diversity in Europe, to share multiple experience of different voice culture and training at all levels and in all styles, and to strengthen the role of singing in society. C'est le droit, ça? Non, c'est pas ça. The aim of the project is to build cooperation between people and organizations interested in all that concerns vocal practice, with two approaches, individual and collective practice, and the second is path, courses, curriculum and diploma from childhood to adulthood, as well for amateur and professional, of course. Léo Sings will enable us to provide, we hope, and publish a great resources to disseminate an inventory of diplomas, training careers, and some proposal we want to bring to government, local governments, and to the European Union at the end of the program. The work program of the project consists of several sessions dedicated to pathways and training courses. I'll let you see the different titles. And we wanted to make not a seminar, not a classical seminar, but a really participative and contributive work in progress. Not like we are here facing the public, but always in round circle discussions and brainstormings and very collective and contributions in order to learn from each other's and to make broadly an exchange, not only with partners, as all the sessions are open to anybody who wants to participate. Oh, not very beautiful, sorry. The project involves a variety of actors from different fields of the voice, which allows to initiate cooperation between people and networks from teaching singing, music education, choral practice and conducting, production also, coaching and cultural observation, as we have an observator all along the project. And each partner is bringing an expertise or hosting a session in his own domain of competence. Leosings is funded with the Leonardo da Vinci program. I won't be very long on this point because, as you know, there is a big change for 2014 and 2020 new program with Creative Europe, of course, we heard about it, but also Erasmus+. Erasmus+ is not only for university and high school, it's a joint of 7 previous programs, including Leonardo da Vinci. And just to say, it's a really good opportunity to imagine first step of cooperation between different organizations and informal practice in a first cooperation, European cooperation. We can speak during coffee break with anyone interested in this, the methodology and how to build this kind of project. Let's go now to the first session of Leosings that was in Barcelona from 5 to 9 of February.
In Barcelona, we had for each day a focus on one subject. The first one was singing in school, second day singing in music school, and third day singing at university and professional levels, building bridges between professional and amateurs. So like Stéphane said, we did not do conferences but just share together with about 45 people in Barcelona from 12 or 15 different countries, the topics chosen. And we had also some illustrations of classes. We went to see some different choir rehearsals, and we had a lot of presentations to complete the program. In fact, there were so many questions. We had the first question, how to become an amateur or professional singer. But the people there together had a lot of questions, and then we changed it a little bit, the program. And on Saturday, the day before the end, we did a World Café. I mean, we were together, but in small groups, in order to enable people to speak a bit more and to be in little groups with 8 or 10 people, so they can speak and ask questions and tell about their experiences. And that's what we did on Saturday. So if we go on, the first day was about singing in school. In school, please, not music.
Sorry.
The year before, yeah. We tried before the meeting in Barcelona to send a survey to all participants. And we tried to have statistics about how it is in school in Europe. But there were not enough answers to have real ideas about how it is in Europe. And it's very difficult, like Elena said before, tricky statistics. So it was better to talk together about singing in school. What we saw is that collective singing practices in school are determined first by the community. It was quite the first words in Barcelona. If we talk about singing at school, people say, but in family, how it is. Just before school, it's important not to forget that singing comes just when the baby is born. So we had a great talk about singing in family, for example. How is it now in Europe? In your country, do the mothers sing or not? Lullabies what do they do? Are they community singing, ritual community singing? It seems to be not so important nowadays than before. Collective singing is also determined by the media, let's say radio, television, and what appeared there, that was when you hear or the radio or when you watch TV, you are not an actor, you are not a creator, you are not a singer, you just listen, you are a former recipient of music, but you don't do it. That's a point. And collective singing depends also of policy, like we saw a few minutes before. And there seems to be a negative trend nowadays as regard to the importance given to music in school education, and especially in the training of teachers. You talked, Elena, of 12-hour music education for music teachers in primary school. It's exactly the same in France nowadays, and it was much more before. And that's what we named a negative trend, something going down. But, and that's one point, and the second one is also that repertoire seems sometimes to be a bit old-fashioned for children of today. We tried to see elements of tension in this context regarding to singing in school, and some question came quite often about intrinsic value of community singing versus community singing having an instrumental impact on other areas. What does that mean? I remember the question where intrinsic value of singing is something natural, free, that belongs to everybody. That's one point of view. And then on the other way, the instrumental impact means sometimes singing is seen like, yes, it's good to sing because it will help to develop social skills or to be in a good health, or, well, it has another impact. The two coexist, but it gives a question about that. We thought also that there were different degrees to which opportunities for community singing were universal or restricted. Universal. In Europe, quite in every country, young children sing in primary school. But afterwards, in gymnasium or university or later on, it's not so universal. Music is often an option. In France, for example, when you go to the lycée, when you are 15 years old, you have to choose if you want to do music or not. It's an option. It's not for everybody. And I think 15 years old is very young to have to do a choice. Well, and yes. And we saw too the capacity of community singing policies and opportunities to evolve. To evolve means to find answers to the social environment in which people operate in terms of repertoires, communication, memberships. That was about singing in school. Then the day after, we tried to see singing in music school. And we saw that in Europe there is a great, huge diversity of practices in music school, resulting from different national traditions and diversity within countries, especially in federal or quasi-federal countries. It's not the same from one town to another one. And that results quite frequently from bottom-up processes. I mean from individual initiative. that make that in that town there is a music school where choral activities and voice practices are very important, and 10 kilometers beyond there is nothing because there is no teacher, for example. So there is really a very big diversity in the European landscape of singing at music schools. And we had also the constatation that younger generations are demanding more opportunities now, especially regarding to new repertoires. And the question is then how to adapt the supply of music education to changing tastes. So that means we need new skill for a teacher. There is a great need of hours allocated to singing in music schools. Some people said in Barcelona there is a real lack of singing teachers in music school regarding to the demand, especially for young people, for example, who wants to sing pop music. And they come to a music school and say, I would like to sing pop music. And there is no teacher with no answer to that project. Another question was how to ensure accessibility for all, especially regarding to rural areas, and also in the context of diminishing public funding. And we had also the question of transferring good practices from one school to another, for example, or between two countries. Elena, you said it was not perhaps possible to exchange or to transfer. I like to talk with you about that. It's perhaps it's a dream. I just would like to.
We have a few dreams for you.
Quite a lot. Then we talked about singing at university and professional level. It's a very complex definition when we try to see the profile of a music teacher in Europe and the role of universities to train the music teacher. It's very complex, and even the words are not the same. In France, for example, in university we are training music teachers, but for the general education. Music teachers in music school are not trained in university, but in some pool of
training centers?
Training centers, but that are not universities. Mm-hmm. And I talk about France because I'm French, but there are very different profile of music teachers in Europe. So the question was more how to be able to develop new skill for the music teachers regarding to, for example, children's voice or health of voices. And what about old people who want to go on singing, and what about their voice? Or what about if we see the diversity of repertoires, the multicultural repertoires nowadays? What about the training for the teachers nowadays? And I thought yesterday, we have in French, I don't know if it exists in English, but I try to explain to you. We have a picture that say, we are looking for a sheep with 5 legs. Do you know that? It means, usually, you know, a sheep has just 4 legs. So a music teacher is a music teacher. But now, we would like to find someone who is a very good music teacher that know everything about opera, for example, but also about nowadays lyrics. And also, he's a very good singer and a good pedagogy. And he knows about social skills, about development of children from 6 to 12, and so on. And we then have the picture of a sheep with 5 legs. So try to find that one, or perhaps there is another path, we talked about it, that it would be important to change the way to work, and not trying to find a ship with 5 legs, but trying to build teams with different specialization, and so as to have to be able to have answer to the young projects, for example.
And maybe considering singing in another way. I mean, not only a course in singing, a course in conducting, but a posture about singing globally. Sorry.
No, thanks a lot. So then came the World Café. It was a very fine time, that time. Everybody had to answer quite quickly in 10 minutes to different questions. And then we tried to see what comes out from all that brainstorming. And discussions allowed to exchange around training vocal teachers, how to build a broad and stable teachers' teaching platform, which includes diverse styles, ages, both for teachers and persons who teach.
One of the main questions in the discussion was that finally we have many training courses for learning singing as an artist, but in a very late timing, the question of pedagogy and transmission is in the course. And maybe we have to think about pedagogy in the very beginning of training.
Mm-hmm. Second big question, health and child development. Health for the voice and child development. Third one, policy making guidelines, how to build European-wide resources network for singing teachers and conductors concerning courses and diplomas. That's a very important question and subject for later in Leo Sings, I think. That's where we will be in 2 weeks in Aalborg in Denmark to see a training in an emerging aesthetic, emerging perhaps not so yet, but pop music and rock music. And it's quite unique in Europe, that training. So we will go and see there what happens.
It's, I think, the unique diploma course in pop music a cappella in Europe. And
she said no.
No? Oh. Yes. And maybe regarding to the panel discussion about Bonn Declaration yesterday, of course we have to be aware ourselves of what we are doing, but maybe an idea could be to imagine a course for elected people. I think the methodology, the practice of singing can be helpful in thinking and implementing public policies. And maybe we can go and teach and make elected people making music in their meetings.
Mm-hmm. And the last question of the World Café was about multicultural inclusion. Nowadays there are people in one country from different countries, and how can we be open to other cultures without losing our own? One of the answers was to celebrate diversity. But how? And just to conclude, we tried to sum up all the questions that appeared in Barcelona, and I thought it was quite light. If you can see that picture like a kaleidoscope, you know what I mean with the word kaleidoscope. That's the thing. So the eye of the kaleidoscope is Leo Sings and diversity. But then all around, if you just move a little, you have different questions that can go from one another, that can build bridges. For example, between vocal education and vocal health, or between vocal education and training of voice teachers. And if we are looking to training of voice teachers, for example, for children and young people, for community choirs, or for professional soloist level, is it the same? How long with who and so on? If you go on with your kaleidoscope, perhaps you come to pan-European projects and the question of diploma and training, or the question of sharing best practice, or creating your opportunities or action research. And in the kaleidoscope, for me, the question of a repertoire is the artistic environment of the picture you see. Repertoire is everywhere. It's the artistic dimension of the kaleidoscope. So I think we have a lot of work to do in the 4 coming sessions, because we had 1 question arriving to Barcelona, but 1,000 coming back home.
And maybe it's not only during this project, and it's of course an implementation in a long-term process. And we have, between the 100 questions and ideas, we have a few ones yet very interesting on which we want to focus. And we would like to imagine another dream, a kind of mapping of skills and knowledge with specificities in different areas and countries. And at the same time, what could be a common basis of learning, like a body trunk, like the Géraldine, take another example. We have the body trunk with the different arms and legs and moving and shaking, but there is the fundamentals. Maybe we can define some fundamentals for each training course and diploma in Europe, and maybe we can easy change and share the different practice in the different country and areas. Well, thank you. If you have any question. Of course, we have.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we had our first session in beginning of February. We tried to invite as much as representing networks as we could. It was the first step, the first real meeting of all the partners too. And these ideas of diploma and mapping, of course we want to implement it with other networks. And of course it's not only a question of singing. There are some specificities, and we want to share this with European Music Council, with EMU, with other networks, of course. And we have another idea of a regular meeting, biennial meeting we want to create in 2015. And the idea is to open this project to the cross with other networks and to work together, of course, yes.